Hello, and welcome to the Valley. Today, I am your host, Janet Michael. We've got a newbie on the Zooms with us today. Les Sinclair is joining me. He is the Communications and PR Manager for the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank. And Les, it was funny when you and I connected, it hadn't dawned on me that I've spoken to nearly every food pantry in the 5-county area, and yet I have never talked to anyone at Blue Ridge Area Food Bank. So I'm really glad that we are now besties.
Well, it's an honor to be here.
For someone who isn't familiar with what you do and how it works, give me a little background on the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank.
The Blue Ridge Area Food Bank is a big logistics organization. Our job really is to help fill the holes wherever we can. We work with partner pantries, and so we're like the big umbrella. We're the big warehouse. Think of us as like a Walmart distribution center, and we work with the Walmarts who have customers that come in. So we're the distribution center where all the food comes, and we distribute that out to our partner pantries, and they are the customer-facing folks. Now, we have some customer-facing stuff too. We have a couple of programs that we do like mobile food pantries and good food school markets. But most of our food distribution is from us to a food pantry, from the food pantry to the guest.
It is so much more complicated, I think, on the backside than a lot of people see from the front-facing side, due in part to how smoothly you guys can make this operation go.
Our logistics guys are really incredible, and we are at the heart of it a logistics organization. We really are about moving food. But as you pointed out, it is so much more layered and complex than simply food comes in, food goes out. We have sources of food, whether it's the USDA, whether it's food manufacturers, it could be retail outlets, and people, just everyday people who help provide food to us, and we sort through that and then provide that out to our partner agencies as well. So there's a lot of logistics that really go into the food bank organization. We also try to help support our partner pantries. We have a thing called a Partner in Impact and Innovation Grant. They can apply for money, and they can buy things like new trucks if they need it for partner pickup, where they go to the grocery store and pick up food, which is facilitated through the food bank and Feeding America, our affiliation there. They can apply for things like coolers or refrigerators, even computers if they need those things. And then we try to buy them, for the partners, so that they're supported so that they can continue to do their work. And it really is an incredible amount of growth that we're seeing lately. I was just doing the math, and year over year from last year to this year, we've seen almost 16% growth. And the year before that, it was 16% growth. And the year before that, it was growth. And the year before that was growth. And of course, the pandemic was in there somewhere. But we're seeing numbers now that are far higher than even the height of the pandemic. It's really incredible. And so the need is there. And so when folks are hearing this and they're thinking, well, I want to support an organization, we encourage you, please support the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank. That will trickle down to your partner agencies, but also support your partners. I know that you, Janet, are really involved in getting the word out about these organizations. Please support them and make sure that they have the volunteers they need, the money they need, and everything else that they need so that they can continue to do this good work.
I knew very little about the partnerships other than the food side of it that you had with our local food pantries until Andrea at Winchester CCAP told me about a grant that I think she got in order to add coolers to her space there at Winchester CCAP. And I thought, wait, what? They do that too? I had no idea.
Yeah, it's all part of our strategic plan. We want to eliminate the disparities. We also want to make sure that people have healthy food. And one of the ways we do that is by purchasing produce. We had almost 10 million pounds of produce that we distributed last year. And that's of the 32 million pounds of food that goes through the warehouse. You think about that, it's almost a third of it is good, healthy, nutritious produce, which is the expensive stuff at the grocery store. And it helps fight diseases, chronic illnesses, and it really helps nourish people. We know that food is health. And so our ability to provide that produce is really helpful. But the pantries can't receive it if they can't keep it cool. So they need a place to do that. And so we try to help them do that as well with these partner innovation and impact grants.
What geographical area do you serve?
Well, it's huge. It's about 12,000 square miles. That's about the size of Maryland, if you're keeping track. We go from Winchester, above Winchester, all the way to the West Virginia line, and then all the way down Harrisonburg, Charlottesville, and past Lynchburg. It's a huge swath. It's about a third of Virginia. There are only 7 food banks in Virginia, and a lot of people use that term interchangeably. There are food pantries and there are food banks. There are only 7 food banks in Virginia, and they're the ones who do the major distribution of mainly donated food and food that is purchased. And then the USDA provides about 20-25% of our food, which gets distributed as well to our partners.
And that's really helpful because a food pantry the size of Andrea in Winchester, Highland Food Pantry, any of our local food pantries likely wouldn't be able to get something from the USDA directly because they're dealing in such large numbers. Just the amount would be overwhelming for them.
And that's why the system is set up like this. So we would get a truckload from the USDA. We'd take that truckload and then we'd be able to distribute it. We've got 4 distribution centers, one in Verona, which is just outside of Stanton, and that's our headquarters. Then we've got one in Charlottesville. We have the one in Winchester and then the one in Lynchburg. And they each serve pockets within our larger region.
How does someone support you then directly so that they know that whatever their donation is actually helping multiple food pantries?
I'm going to be completely honest and say the best thing that anyone can do is provide money. We can provide 3 meals with a single dollar, or help provide 3 meals with one single dollar. So when you give $100, that's almost 300 meals that you're helping provide. Because what we will do is we'll purchase that food and then make it available to our partners. And so we're able to buy at scale because we have the warehouse space to do that. And so that helps us all move things along. But if you don't have money to give, that's okay. You can give time. You can raise your voice with advocacy. We're right now trying to push for a really strong farm bill, which helps farmers and food banks and people who are food insecure and everybody that we serve. So we really need a strong farm bill. You can volunteer as well. And those are fantastic ways to support the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank. If you want to volunteer at one of our warehouses or distribution centers, or just use our Food Finder tool, which not only helps you find food, but will help you find pantries nearby you that you could go volunteer at. We are concerned about our food pantries as well, because many of them are faith-based. The number of people going to church is going down. Number of people volunteering is going down. And many of the people who run these food pantries are getting up in age, and it's harder for them to lift and carry things. And so if anybody who is younger and able-bodied or wants to help out, that's a great way to do it.
I've had those conversations with Andrea from Winchester CCAP as well. It takes over 200 volunteers in order for her to keep her doors open. And I don't think people realize how much manpower actually goes into getting the food in, doing the distribution, doing the sorting, having the face-to-face contact with the people that are coming in. There's a lot involved, and it's probably the warmest, fuzziest volunteering that you will ever do.
I was out at a neighborhood produce market on Wednesday, and the connection with people is really what it's all about. The people who come here, no one wants to come to a food pantry or the food bank. No one really wants to do that. They do it out of necessity. And it's wonderful when they're greeted with love and kindness that they deserve just as a human being. And then they, in return, give that love and kindness back. And I can tell you from personal experience, you'll get more out of volunteering than you give.
I was at a breakfast meeting last week with Senator Tim Kaine. United Way Northern Shenandoah Valley brought several of the nonprofits together, and they talked about that farm bill. And at first I thought, wait, what does this have to do with anything? And that's where it's really kind of on our shoulders, on the community shoulders, to understand how all these pieces fit together. That really is a valuable piece of being able to feed our communities.
One of the biggest numbers in the farm bill is the nutrition SNAP and something called TEFAP, which is the Emergency Food Assistance Program. We also have senior food boxes, which is our CSFP program, a lot of acronyms in the government. But these things are all administered through the Farm Bill. So we need a strong Farm Bill to make sure that people have the food resources that they need. And again, it does support farmers as well. That's why it's called the Farm Bill.
And that's really a good thing to happen because I don't think any of us could by ourselves support our farmers in the way that they need to. But this is a great way to be able to come together and do two good things at once.
Yeah, and the way the government, the USDA, helps support the farmers is that they buy up the surplus. They really keep the prices from fluctuating in extreme ways up or down. Because if they go down, the farmers lose money. If they go up too high, people don't buy or can't afford it. And so the USDA helps keep that at level. And then they take that surplus and they provide it to food banks, who provide it to food pantries, who provide it to people who need it.
And that's important for people to also understand, I think, is that you are not like a grocery store in that you always have the shelves stocked with a certain item. You're kind of at the whim of what's available and what you can get your hands on. I remember Andrea once saying that there were several weeks when she couldn't get her hands on any beans.
Yeah, there's a lot of seasonality involved in what we do. And so there are times when there's more beans on the market or more produce on the market. In fact, the USDA just announced that they were doing $230 million of what we call Section 32 purchasing. And that's of fresh seafood and fruits and vegetables. And that'll get distributed to food banks in the future as well. So that's a really good thing that comes out of the programs of the USDA.
Is it just food or do you do diapers or baby formula? Do you do pet food or is it just consumable human food?
We do a little bit of everything. We do pet food. Often, what will happen is a manufacturer will call and they'll have extra and overrun. Maybe a label was upside down or something, and they just go, "Oh, well, we can donate that to the system." And then, especially if we can get it and they'll deliver it for free, it's really great. I know that our food sourcing guy one time had a couple of pallets of laundry detergent, and he was so excited about it because it was free, and we were able to bring this in and distribute it out to our pantries, their food pantries, but they do other things, many of them. And so the ability to have laundry detergent means that somebody else doesn't have to spend that money on the laundry detergent, and they can pay for things like medicine or their gasoline in their car or their rent or their electricity. It's a finite pool, your financial budget, and whatever we can provide is helpful to folks who need it.
And laundry detergent in particular is typically one of the most expensive things on your grocery list when you're making that trip every week.
Yeah, it's really incredible. Our food sourcing manager at the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank, which is another key component of having a food bank, is that he has great connections all over the country and, in fact, all over the world to be able to source this food so that we can either get it really inexpensively or often free. And that's the best kind, because when you can get really good, high quality food for free and then distribute it out to the pantries for free, it's fantastic.
Particularly when it's something as simple as a company is changing their packaging and they don't want the old packaging on the shelves anymore, but the product inside is still perfectly great. That's where you can really benefit.
Yeah, and the benefit is to the corporation as well. They get tax benefits from it, and then we get the benefit of having this really high quality product, and we're able to distribute it.
Let's take a break. September is Hunger Action Month. September 9th in particular is Hunger Action Day. Can you tell me a little bit about what that means and what we can do to support your goals in and around that initiative when we come back?
Absolutely.
We are on the Zooms today with Les Sinclair. He is the communications and PR manager for the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank. We're going to come back and continue our conversation with him in just a couple of minutes. In just one day, you can help shape a stronger, more connected community. On September 19th, United Way of Northern Shenandoah Valley will lead Day of Caring, the region's largest single-day volunteer event. Over 900 volunteers will roll up their sleeves to help local nonprofits with projects that matter. Painting classrooms, repairing shelters, planting gardens, organizing food pantries. Whether you're a business looking to sponsor, a nonprofit in need of an extra set of hands, or a neighbor ready to serve, there's a place for you on Day of Caring. This is what community looks like when we come together. This is care in action. Learn how to get involved at unitedwaynsv.org/Day of Caring or email dayofcaring@unitedwaynsv.org. One day, hundreds of hands, lasting impact. Join us. Welcome back to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. We are on the Zooms today with Les Sinclair. He is the Communications and PR Manager for Blue Ridge Area Food Bank. We got an overview in the first segment about all of the different services that they provide and the support that they provide to our local food pantries. September is Hunger Action Month. Going into that type of a month where I'm guessing a lot of it is about educating the public on what hunger looks like in our communities and who exactly it is that you're serving, you guys have to keep data and statistics. You're not just taking all this food in and giving it out to anybody that asks. You got to make sure that it's going to who it needs to go to and then tracking whether or not that is beneficial to a community.
And that's so true. We are a very data-driven organization. A lot of the numbers that we keep are for quality control. A lot of the numbers we keep are for government purposes. The USDA really wants to know where their food is going, and they own it until you give it to the guest that's supposed to get it. So those sorts of things are really important. That said, we try, and our partner pantries try really hard not to be intrusive. When they don't have to ask for information, they don't necessarily want it. Really, what we're trying to figure out is who we're serving, the number of people in a household, the number of children, the number of seniors, and those numbers continue to grow. In fact, Janet, more than half of the people that we serve are children and seniors, the most vulnerable of the population. That's important for people to know because the others are actually hardworking folks who are trying really hard to get back into a place where they can have a sustainable life and thrive. And I think there's this misnomer that the people who come to food pantries and food banks are lazy, and it's just not true. As I said, half of them are children and seniors, and the other bunch are really just hardworking folks just trying to make it. And it's really hard these days because inflation keeps going up. Childcare is super expensive. Housing is super expensive. The cost of gasoline doesn't get cheaper. And so it's really important that folks try to take people where they are. A situation could happen at any time in anybody's life and just set them back a little bit. There's this statistic out there that most people don't have $1,000 for an emergency spend in their life. And so imagine that if your car breaks down, that's your mode of transportation to work. How are you going to get from there to there without spending the $1,000 to fix it? So you've got to spend that. And then what do you do for food? That's where the food pantry and the charitable food network comes in.
You were talking earlier, nobody goes to a food pantry because of the selection. They don't go to a food pantry because it's a cool, fun thing to do. They're not getting steaks. They're not getting lobster. I think people have this misinterpretation of what it is that they're getting. This is meeting a basic need in a moment. And as Andrea has told me, a lot of times she may only see those people once or twice, and then their situation has improved and they're not returning on a regular weekly, monthly basis.
It's a stopgap for a lot of people. And that's all you can really hope for is that they need this food once. In fact, I was talking to a mother of 5 who was going through a divorce, which was really challenging. And you can imagine how these things go. You go from a 2-income home to a 1-income home, and it's just harder to make ends meet. And she told me it was the most wonderful thing ever. She said, I look forward to a time when I can get back to giving help instead of receiving it. You just take that and go, wow, that's really incredible for a mother of 5 who was working and having to take time out of her day so that she could go to the food pantry and pick up food. It was really incredible and quite touching moment.
We were talking a little bit before we started recording about Camping for Hunger. And I remember it was like the second or third year that I was on the bus, and someone came up to the bus and they had 2 Martin's grocery bags with food in it. And so, of course, we were like, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. They wanted to take a picture. They wanted to see all the other food in the bus. And so we're just standing there chatting with them. And I, again, said thank you. And they said, oh, no, it's great. Last year, I had to go to CCAP to get food. So I'm very excited that now I'm able to buy some food and bring it to you to help someone that was me last year. And it just gives you goosebumps.
Yeah. And I can tell you that that is very, very common. In fact, more than 75% of the people who help the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank are individual people who are making a donation. That's where most of the donations to the food bank come from. We don't live in a place where there are these great corporate entities that are going to give us vast amounts of money. It really is the individual that makes a difference in the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank. And that then trickles down into the partner pantry network.
Cash is king for a lot of nonprofits, but for you in particular, it's incredibly beneficial because you need that cash to be able to fill a shelf with something that you don't have. It could be that everybody on the planet sees that a grocery store is having a sale on spaghetti. So you
Yeah.
have cases and cases of spaghetti, but you don't have any sauce. Or
Yeah.
you have this need of baby formula that you just don't have access to. Having those cash donations allows you to fill those shelves with specific needs that you have or to increase that USDA order.
Yeah, the USDA is fantastic, but again, they provide about 20 to 25% of our inventory. Now you go, okay, well, that's a lot, but that leaves 75% that has to come from somewhere else. And we are spending $5 to $6 million a year on food to purchase it. And before the pandemic, it was much less than that. And so the cost of food has increased, the cost of transportation to get the food from one place to the other has increased. And we're still able to provide more than 3 meals with a $1 donation. So you're right, cash is king, but there are other ways to give as well. In fact, the volunteers have given us over 2,500 hours of work. That's 14 full-time positions that are supplied to the food bank through volunteerism. And that's just wonderful. We couldn't do it without volunteers.
Sharon Gromling from Our Health and I have had the conversation. There is an actual dollar amount, value dollar amount, that is attached to a volunteer hour that nonprofits also have to keep track of in order to maintain their status and in some cases get grants and funding and things like that. It is hugely valuable for nonprofits to just have someone that can give those hours, whether it's 1 hour or 10 hours in a week.
Yeah, and there are a lot of people who do a lot of great work that isn't even in the warehouse. My wife, for instance, is an Excel wizard, and so she does a lot of data for us. As I like to say, I voluntold her to do it. And there are many different ways that you can help. You can be administrative support, even remotely. I've had people do all sorts of great things. So whatever your skill might be, it might be adaptable to the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank. Or you can come in with a group either from work or come in by yourself and network a little bit. It's really fun, and we try to make it enjoyable.
One of the things you mentioned earlier were some of the corporate partnerships. While we don't have Apple or Bill Gates that are just writing you checks every month to keep the lights on and the shelves stocked, you do have a lot of corporate partnerships here locally. I know that our food pantries do pickups from Martin's grocery store, from Starbucks. I think that is phenomenal.
Yeah, the partner pickup is really incredible. And so, for folks who don't understand what this is facilitated through the food bank and our Feeding America network. We work with partners like the grocery stores, Food Lion, Giant, Martin's, Kroger, and then some of the others like Sheetz and Starbucks and many of the others. And so, those are all facilitated through the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank, but it allows our partners to go out to these locations that are close to them and pick up this really good food that they're not going to sell for whatever reason. They can take it directly from the entity to their organization and distribute it to people right away. And it is a fantastic way to help support people. These organizations, they're working hard to make sure that they're part of the community as well.
What kinds of things do you hope the community will do during the month of September while it's Hunger Action Month?
Hunger Action Month, it's really about raising awareness. So we want to educate folks. You're helping us do that, Janet. We also want people to volunteer if they can. We'd love for them to donate money if they can. We'd love for them to advocate. Reach out to your federally elected officials, your local officials, your state officials, and let them know where you stand and that you don't believe that people should be hungry and that everyone should have enough to eat. Those are the things that you can do. You can give your time, you can raise your voice. Whatever you do in support of alleviating hunger is something that we really encourage during the month of September.
Are there things in particular that you need the most at Blue Ridge Area Food Bank that you get the least of? Are there specific products that we always could use this and we never seem to have enough of it?
We could always use some of those non-food products. So there are things like soap and shampoo and feminine products and toilet paper and paper towels and laundry detergent and pet food. All of those things are great. But we like to say anything that your family eats is something that someone else might eat. We try to focus some on culturally familiar food. We want to make sure that people have the food that they need, that they enjoy. And so, whatever your family enjoys, probably someone else will as well. So, if you want to just donate that, we'll make sure that it gets distributed out into the network.
For the longest time after my son left for college and now is living in another state, I would just continue to shop at Costco as if he still lived here. And then I would take those things and donate them to the local food pantry because it was already in my budget. It made me feel like he was still here. And I knew, again, they were things that we would eat and not off brand something that maybe isn't what you would want your kid eating if he had no other options.
Yeah, that's a wonderful thing. A lot of parents will choose to teach their children how to give that way. They'll say, hey, go pick out something that you like and we'll donate it. Whatever it is that you like, even if it's not the most, like we would really love low salt, low sugar items. We'd love that. But when a child picks up something that they really want, some sugary cereal, chances are another kid will like it too.
I had Elise on the show last week from Bright Futures, and her
Yes.
dream is that one day she is going to get pallets and pallets of organic granola bars donated to her.
Yeah, and she's great. And they're serving like 1,500 children out of Bright Futures. And this summer, they'll serve 5,000. That's really incredible work that they do all year long. And that's part of the work that we want to help support.
Where can people go get more information if they want to volunteer or they want to do advocacy for you in some way? Are there places on your website where they can learn more?
Yeah, that is the easiest thing. You can either just search for Blue Ridge Area Food Bank, or our website is really short. It's our acronym, BRAFB.org, but just search for Blue Ridge Area Food Bank and you'll find us. And everything you need to know is there, really accessible. The donate button is right there on the top of the page, the front of the page, and then how to get involved, also really easy and accessible. Everything that you need to know about advocacy, about volunteering is all on that website. And I want to point out too that there is a food finder tool on that website that is really useful. That is set up so that you simply put in your address. It can be your work address, your home address, where you're staying, and it'll give you a listing of all the food pantries nearby you. You can use that even if you don't need food. If you're looking for a place to volunteer, you can use that and go, oh, I could call them and ask if they need help. And I bet you they will say yes. So use it not only to help people find food, whether it's yourself or someone else, but you can also use it to find places to volunteer.
I love that all you require is that address because I could have family members living in a different area and I know that they're struggling and I want to help them with resources, but I don't know what they have in their area. It allows me to do that research for them and say, hey, here's where you go and here's what you do. And I don't have to know really any specifics other than where they live.
Yeah, and on that website, it not only will give you all the information about that food pantry, it'll give you their contact information, it'll give you their website, gives you their address. You can map right to them. It really is a good resource, and we encourage anyone and everyone to use it, whether you need food, whether you want to help someone find food, or whether you're just looking for a place nearby to volunteer.
The other really small thing that I always try to encourage people to do is you have social media outlets. I know in particular you're on Facebook. Sharing those posts when you make a post about anything, whether it's advocacy, whether it's food, showing a delivery to a food pantry, that really helps spread the word for people to know what's happening in their backyard.
I'm so glad you brought that up, Janet, because a lot of people don't realize that when you post something, only about 1% of your followers see it. And the only way it gets magnified is either you pay for it, which costs a lot, or other people like and share and comment on it. It is that interaction that helps it move along and elevates it within the social media platform. And so, yes, you are 100% right. If you can like, share, and comment on those posts from whatever organization you love and follow, that will help them immensely.
Before we wrap up, I have to ask, I saw a press release that you have a new CEO. So there is someone new in charge at Blue Ridge Area Food Bank.
Yeah, Michael McKee was our longtime CEO and he retired and we will miss him. But we are really super excited about Carrie Jorgensen Diener. And she's from Harrisonburg. So we found her locally. She is 25 years in humanitarian leadership. She's worked in poverty and food resources in Jordan and the South Sudan. And she's bringing that work to us at the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank. She is officially, as of today, 5 days into the job, and she's doing a fantastic job. I've spent some time with her because I stalk her and take pictures a lot because of my job. I really like her, and I know our board is super excited about having her too. They did a really extensive nationwide search, and we're really excited to have her.
Well, this conversation that we're having today is part one of a multi-part conversation that we're going to have. So maybe at some point we'll get to chat with her as well.
Oh, I love that. That would be fantastic.
Les, thank you for taking the time to educate me on all of the work that happens behind the scenes so that our food pantries have food, so that our families have food. I appreciate it.
Look, we appreciate you. We couldn't do what we do without you helping us spread the word. Your efforts making sure that other people know about us and all the other organizations that you cover through the Shenandoah Valley is really important.
I will be back tomorrow with a brand new episode of The Valley Today, just a few minutes after noon, so meet me here then.